Yo, what is up, guys? I just got this new tank for 10 days as a rental. This is the new ISU-152K Premium Tier 8 tank destroyer. This is the latest double barrel tank from the Soviet tech tree. Yes, double barrel. It has a gun in the front and a gun at the back. This thing fires frontally and it can fire at enemies at the back as well. What an amazing tank. Let's get into the video. Of course it doesn't have a gun at the back, but if it did, wouldn't it be great? If you look at the back of the tank, it's actually a log that is almost nestled in the back of the turret, and it makes it look like it has another gun. If you look at it from certain light angles and with the, if you use the dark camo or something, it does look like there's a gun right at the back. But anyway, a little bit of history on SU-100, right? It starts with the SU-100 in Tier 7, mounted. They mounted the howitzer on the KV-1 chassis, and then in the Tech Tree Tier 8 version, they put a howitzer on an IS chassis, and this chassis is a T10 chassis in the ISU-K. Now, if you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing and giving this video a like. This is the best way you can help to support my channel, and let me thank you in advance. Now, a little bit of context in this video. I am not a fixed turret tank player. I do not have any tanks that have fixed turret. The only two tanks that I have kept is the Stug 4 and the T28 prototype, which are the mission reward tanks from the 260 missions. And I think I played a few games on the SU-100Y a long time ago, but this reaction video or tank review video is done from the perspective of a player that does not play fixed turret tank destroyers. So I'm not good at this tank at all. In fact, my first 5 games I averaged 500 combined damage. That's how bad I am. This is my first shot. I thought I would penetrate that Lanson C, but I did not, and I got spotted, and I'm going to take damage for it. I should have backed up a little bit more when I fired through the bush, but if I did back up a little bit more, I would have not had the gun depression to shoot these guys, because this tank is only 5 degrees gun depression. But I'm gonna do my best here to see what I can do now. You see me firing APCR shells as the first choice, not because of the high penetration. Yes, it has 300 plus penetration on the premium APCR shells, 329 penetration on APCR shells, but that's not the reason why I'm firing these APCR shells. The reason why I'm firing these APCR shells is because of the shell velocity, 1100 meters per second. I needed to shoot a little bit more accurately for tanks at a distance. If they're moving and shit, it's a lot easier to actually hit them. In terms of penetration, the standard AP shells is more than enough penetration. Of course, tank destroyers always have great penetration. 286 penetration, it is a lot higher. It is 26 millimeters more penetration than your stock ISU-152 from the tech tree. So very high penetration, but shell velocity 880 meters per second, which is kind of like on the slow side. I mean, it's not completely slow, but it's kind of like on the slow side. Now, like I said, the difference between the 152K and the 152 is the chassis and the engine. The chassis from the Tier 9 T10, the 152 on the tech tree, was still using the Tier 7 IS tank chassis, right? And the gun, of course, different gun. This is a longer gun. It's called the BL10. But in terms of damage, it does the same kind of damage, 750 alpha, which is the same as the howitzer 750 alpha. And the engine, this uses a T54 engine from the Tier 9 medium tank, but it does not drive like a medium tank. It does not have mobility. In fact, this tank is everything my channel isn't. My channel is stealth, vision, mobility. This tank is No stealth, no vision, no mobility. Sit at the back and snipe quietly like a good boy. You are expected to play second fiddle for most of the game, actually almost all the time. You're like, I don't know how to put it in perspective. You're like Keemstar, you know. You're kind of like big alpha, but you're just like second fiddle. You're like, not very relative. You're like, you're not the main star. You're not the, you're not the protagonist. You're like KSI's little brother, So you just sit behind, bide your time, and hope to get your shots out. Now we are down by 2 tanks. In fact, it's not looking good for us, but we have a Pantera here with full HP and an ST1 with 3/4 HP, and we have 3 enemies there with no HP. What this Pantera could do is basically just drive over and just one-shot everyone with his clip, and he could kill 3 tanks with 1 clip, but he's refusing to do that. He's afraid of something at the back, maybe, I don't know. But I got a little bit frustrated, and I was like trying to message them, you have a lot of HP, go. But if I was in the Pantera, it would have been a different story. I would have been totally carrying the game, finishing off those guys, and pushed on and carry our team to victory. But I am in an ISU-152K. The thing is, this tank, 40 kilometers an hour forward speed. This tank has all the stats worse than the ISU-152 on the tech tree. The only thing it has better on the tech tree version is a little bit of terrain resistance, a little bit of the hidden stats, I guess, the soft stats you call it. But I honestly do not feel this thing can wiggle very well or can turn on a dime or anything like that. The terrain resistance makes no difference to me. Also, it has a better radio range of 730 meters, I guess. The standard one has 625. I don't know how relevant is that to actual gameplay. So for me, it does not make any difference at all. In fact, I feel this tank is a much worse version of the Tech Tree version of the Tech Tree ISU, except for the like I said, terrain resistance. It has a little bit better penetration, of course, 286 versus the 260 on the ISU from the Tech Tree. It has a little bit better shell velocity on the standard shells as well, 880 meters per second versus 850 meters per second on the ISU Tech Tree. But I don't feel it makes any kind of difference at all. If it makes any difference at all, you can't really feel it. Now, this tank goes up on sale today. I've only been playing this tank for the last 6 hours. I've played 14-15 games. I've had a 50% win rate, not too terrific, but I wouldn't complain that much because like I said, this is coming from a guy that does not play any non-turreted tank destroyers. I don't like it when I'm in sniper mode and when I turn my tank and I get a little bit of a headache because the camera follows along. I don't like that aspect of fixed turret tank destroyers. That's why I don't play fixed turret tank destroyers. But for a first time playing these kind of tanks, I must say I did not totally hate the experience. The first 5 games were terrible, but they were basically my fault because I was not playing this tank as intended. I was being too aggressive, trying to spot for myself, trying to go in front, trying to 1v1 versus a T-44, which typically does not work well when you do not have the kind of mobility that you need to traverse around someone who's trying to flank you on the side and in the back. So I do not completely hate this tank, but my first couple of games, my first 5 games was absolutely shite. It has improved since. I think I got my average combined up to 1200, 1300 at the moment, which is still very shit, to be honest with you. I felt very humbled playing with this tank, and good reason why I don't like turreted tank destroyers, but that doesn't mean this is going to be terrible for other people. I know a lot of people that do like turreted tank destroyers, players that like to play the TS5, the T28, or the E3. You might enjoy this tank. In fact, I think you will enjoy this tank just because of that 750 alpha. Of course, you've got to make your shots for that 750 alpha to count. As for me, I am still learning this tank. I will continue to play this tank over the next week. I plan to make either 1 or 2 more videos on this tank after I have get a grasp of how to play this a little bit better than I have recently or in the last 6 hours. So I do want to learn a little bit because I have been putting it off for many years. I have completely discounted turreted tanks. You know, I did not play turreted tanks at all, and I think that because I have collected almost every tank that I have ever wanted in this game, I already have it. The only thing that I have never dived into is turreted non-turreted tank destroyers, so maybe I might you know, tiptoe into it, get my feet a little bit wet, check it out, check out what's going on, see if I can average like 2100 combined or 2200 combined. I would say that would be an accomplishment for myself, but I'm not going to be too hard on myself. You know, sometimes you got to look back and laugh at yourself a little bit. Don't take yourself too seriously. If you want to pad your stats, I would say this might not be the tank of your choice. This might not be what you want to go for stat padding. This kind of tank is for people who's already got everything in their garage, perhaps. Or if you are a dedicated tank destroyer player who liked fixed turret. Look at this shot. I'm fully aimed and I missed him. That was really disappointing. Like I said, for people who want a challenge, people who like playing fixed turret tank destroyers, people who don't care too much about making your stats look good, this might be the challenge you are looking for. The thing that I really like about this tank is, of course, the 750 alpha. Other than that, I do not like that it does not have a lot of mobility. Funny that I made this shot. It's really strange. When I made this shot and I took my damage up to 2.2, there's no spotting damage at all. But I'm pretty happy with the result considering how this game started. It looked like we were going to lose this game, but we managed to pull it back. I was not the hero, like I said. This tank kind of difficult to be the hero. I made a little bit of profit even though I was firing mostly premium shells, so not too bad a result. I will make a follow-up video later on how I progress with this tank. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.